I always figured that I would, become an elected official, be some sort of public servant. And I felt the way to do that was to go to law school. And in my journey there, right, when I began to embark on my senior year and the questions of what are you doing after you graduate start to hit me, law school became less attractive for me. After graduating the University of Rochester, I knew that I wanted to come back home to Utica. And then I was Googling and I seen this small inscription in the bottom of a page that said, from time to time, Colgate University awards master's degree in humanities. And that was all it took for me. It wasn't just geography, right? But for me, the more I began to look at Colgate University in the religion department, when you look at the faculty, when you look at the courses offered, when you look at that I'm not just a number in a graduate program, but that the faculty, the administration cares about my academic success, there was no place for me to go in the world, essentially, but Colgate University. One of the interests for me is looking at political theology and seeing how religion and politics have played with each other, but through the lens of the African American experience, and particularly looking at the Gullah Geechee people in South Carolina, and as well as Africanized slave religions in the antebellum South. So that's really become a focus for me, and that has become a defined focus through just the semesters that I've been here at Colgate. They've been able to help me really articulate what it is that I want to study. So I started preaching at 10 years old, right? So I was the youngest minister in our denomination, which is Pentecostal or charismatic evangelical. So I started preaching. I felt called. My grandmother's a pastor, a preacher, and at 9 years old, I felt called that I was called to help change lives and to preach a message of hope and joy and to preach the gospel. That moment really put me on the trajectory of helping to change lives and to really elevating the voice of marginalized people. I would take the train from the University of Rochester back home to Utica. I would see that our community had potential, but I felt that it was untapped potential. Cornhill is a diverse community, over 42 languages spoken, but 40% of Cornhill lived at or below the poverty level. But I felt that if we put some energy there, some practical legislation, some comprehensive policy, that we can really jumpstart Cornhill. And so I decided to get involved because when the opportunity presented itself and it was an election cycle, I felt that people were missing heavy components in the conversation of how do we transform the inner city, how do we transform Cornhill, and I felt that I had a few ideas that can help, my community. I felt that I can contribute to the conversation, and I earnestly felt then, as I do now, that I was the best person to represent Cornhill. And so when I put all those things together with a little bit of self meditation and prayer and talking with family, I felt it was time to step forward and become a public servant. Being a politician is not the end goal. Number one, it's 50-50. You could win or you can lose. So that's not. So if you're going to be in politics, you got to have a plan B to have a day job. I want to continue education to get a PhD in religion and ultimately be a professor of religion. Hopefully, if I had a magic wand and can get my way, I would start a religion program either at Utica College or join the faculty of Colgate or Hamilton, somewhere within the area. I know certainly 4 years from now, I intend to still be representing the people of Cornhill. But if there is an opportunity for me to run for something different or something in a different capacity, and I really felt that I can contribute to that office and do some good for the people in Utica, I most certainly would maybe put my hat forward and see if the people would agree with me on that as well. So going to Colgate, trying to find time to sleep, trying to be 24 at the same time, trying to have a social life. It seems like a lot, but it's manageable, and you can do it. And so, if there's anything I would want people to know, is that the millennial generation is fearless. We are invincible if we put our mind to it. And there's nothing that a Colgate student can't do.